Welcome, everyone. It is Wednesday night. Welcome to our empowerment class. Um, Brother Curtis will be here shortly, but in the meantime, we just gonna jump right into it. He said our topic for today was developing and maintaining healthy relationships. So, with that being said, it's 2021 now. Um, we're right in the smack dab in the middle of a pandemic where um, we're pretty much not isolated, but we're um, social distancing from a lot of things. We can't do. We're not as open as we once were before. And so, one question that comes to mind is, how are we handling it? How are we handling things today? How are we maintaining our relationship? And how do you, with everything going on, how do you start new relationships? All right, I'm gonna start off first. For me personally, um, it's affected me. It kind of affected me hard because, especially we just getting through the holidays and whatnot. Um, I'm pretty much like my mother. I'm a social butterfly, right? I love people. I love interacting. I'm a hugger. I'm a high fiver. And we can't do those things right now. And so, you see somebody at the store, somebody, you might say, hey, what's up? And you get caught up in a situation where you want to hug or you want to dab and you don't know what to do. And so, like, how are you handling that? Because I know, like, we couldn't get together with family. Christmas Day, we had our gender reveal. We had to do everything virtual. I was looking forward to seeing my family, and like I said, my family is very close. We like to love on one another, and we like to hug and show our love physically towards one another. And this year was like the most different year ever for me personally because, like I say, we stayed home. I haven't seen my grandparents in over a month or two. Haven't seen my parents in about a month or two. So, it hit me. It didn't feel I didn't feel that joyous spirit like we usually do during Christmas time and New Year's. And so, but how are you guys? How is it affecting you all? Go ahead, jump in. Don't be shy now.
Well, I don't know if you guys can see me or not.
We see you.
Okay, well, one thing definitely that changed for me a lot was school because I have a 10th grader and I have an 8th grader. And for some amazing reason, my 10th grader, which I thought he was going to struggle because there's no sports, there's no football, there's no soccer, there's no track. And that is what drives him. But he did it. He is like A-okay. He's still straight A's and straight B's. Now, my other child, which I thought she was going to be okay because she's my IB program student. She's the one that doesn't mind doing work. She is, for lack of better words, Lord, we're going to help her. It's going to be better. I'm about to send her back to school because I don't know what to do. I'll be like, Neville, are you in class? She'll be like, yeah. And then I'll get a text through my email saying your child's not in class, and I'm like, what is going on? So that is hard, for me. I can't just go to a PTA class or a meeting and say, hey, what can we do? What to help her get better? It's just she either does it or she doesn't, and that's how school is right now. Your child either get it or they left behind. And it's sad in a sense, but as parents, we need to figure it out, pray on it, do something, get, tutoring, whatever your child needs at this point. Um, which for my child, I've realized that she just got to go back to school. She's the type of person that just likes going to school. She likes going to classes. She likes interacting with her teachers. She likes meeting her kids and her, you know, and her friends. Like she likes doing that stuff. And she just feels like a depression, not being able to go to school. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's what she that's what she calls it. She's like, Mom, I'm depressed. And I rebuke it in the name of Jesus and we move forward. So that is something that I'm not used to. I'm used to being a PTA mom, going to, sneaking up there, having lunch with my child, doing stuff like that. And now you can't. It's different.
I definitely can attest to that. I work in the school system, so I see the behind the scenes things of the what goes on, and right now, like I said, with this being virtual, I totally get it. And I said it. We had a meeting one day, and I was talking to a counselor, and I don't have I'm not a psychologist or a therapist or a counselor technically, even though I have those traits, and I talk to my kids, and I understand what they're going through, and I listen to them. But um, I said it before. I said I was thinking to myself. We had a meeting, and I said it'd be funny if the ones that were doing bad would suddenly do good, and the ones that were doing good would suddenly do bad. And it's this, it's a catch-22 because the ones that did like to go to school, the ones that like to interact and were engaged in school, they are suffering. I see the trend across the board because like the ones that like said were getting it, for lack of better words, they feel isolated. So it is a little bit of a depression phase going through right now. And then the ones that were, not doing so well, that were out there, cutting class and all this and that, they have nothing to do but focus on class now because there is no more distraction. So now their grades are going up because they have nothing to do but focus on the work. So it's a catch-22, and I definitely feel what you're going through because, like I say, even though I don't have kids of my own, I do interact with the kid. Like I said, I work at a school, so I'm interacting, and I have to check on them daily and say, "What are you doing? Are you in class? Have you done your work?" All those things, and I'm hearing the same thing. Like the kids are telling me the same thing, Coach. It just the ones that were struggling, they're doing great now, and the ones that were doing great, they're like, I just can't get it. I need to have a teacher in front of me. I need to talk to someone that can communicate with me and show me how to do it. I can't do it on my own. So I definitely feel what you're going through, and we're gonna keep them in prayer too. And anyone else? What else is going on?
Well, Eric, talking about what you were talking about with family, that's not my reality because I live with my family. So kind of blessed that I'm not in North Carolina where normally it would just be me and my kids, but I'm, blessed enough to have my family with me. So we still had the distance from other people. So, I mean, it's been difficult, but it's to keep us safe. And as a mom, I don't want my kids contracting this virus. So if it's a no, it's a no. And it's difficult because you want to be around your family. I'm very family oriented, but it's not worth one of them being sick. And then I can't go in the hospital with them. I can't hold their hand. I can't be there. No. I'd rather just stay home, go to church, and Instacart my groceries. And that's basically what I do. If it's a doctor's appointment, I go out. If not, I'm home. It's because this is with the guidance that we have. I'm doing my best to abide by it for my kids' sake. Yes, my own, but and I don't want anyone else in my house to get sick. So right. We wash often. We wash the reusable masks, and we have ones we throw away. And so I'm just going to continue to do what is needed for us to be safe until further guidance is out there. So I know it's difficult because it's awesome experiences right now, like preggy wife and baby, and everyone wants to be a part of it, but that might change too. Like the way we saw family reunions and gatherings and people being together probably has to change. And so whatever that is, we just have to be in alignment with that change. Like change is I think most people don't like. I love it. Like I love a good old change because that means whatever I used to do, I can't do no more. And for some reason, it stopped working. It's just like you trying to keep driving your car, but your car don't work, but you keep putting money into this car. And it's just done. It's done. It's done. You drove it till the wheels fell off. So now with this being the way we're going to communicate, even now, I'm all for it. I'm just, that's just me.
That's where it hurts me because
Yep.
I'm a creature of habit. Like I like things a certain way. I like it. If I have spaghetti every day, I'm good. As long as I got some meat, I don't care. It don't matter to me. But I totally feel like where you come, like what hit me one day, as somebody said, I can't remember who said it, but they said we have to realize that this is the new normal. Like this is the new way of life. Like some things we may could do, but for the most part, it will never be the same again. Like this is what it is moving forward, and you have to understand, because what scares me the most is, I'm on social media a little bit, and I follow people, and I look at stuff, and people are start clubbing and partying, and I'm like, we can't do the way we used to do anymore. Like we just can't. Like not yet right now. You know what I'm saying? Till like, I mean, I'm not gonna get into the vaccine and all that stuff, but as of right now, like we just can't do what we used to do, and some people just don't get it, or they don't want to get it. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, yeah, that's that's tough. Like I like things a certain way, and then like say when you say, don't get me wrong, I will adjust. It may take a minute, but I will adjust. But the initial impact,
your whole life about to adjust.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Hey, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. No.
Yeah.
Well, get ready. Get ready.
Hey, your teeny thing, Joyce.
That's right.
Oh.
Kevin Hart said, no.
For me, it's funny. Well, it's not really funny, but it's ironic. Like, so this whole scenario, as far as like shelter in place and everything, it really hasn't really affected me. One is because I married my best friend, so that's a good thing. I'm in the house with my best friend, so even though at times when we bump heads, at the end of the day, that's still my best friend, right? So like if I had to be in the place that I was secluded with somebody, I'm happy that God chose the right one for me. But like I would say, and this is like some of y'all know my story, some don't, but that's the best cell buddy I ever had. You know what I'm saying? I ain't lying to you. That's the best cell buddy I ever had. So I mean, I had 16 years of experiencing, shelter in place, so at the same time of dealing with that, of course, being exposed and being able to move around for 6 years and all that. Yeah, I mean, it was nice and everything, but it really ain't fazed me. It really ain't bothered me because at the end of the day, I have came accustomed to being able to be okay in a small space. But the one thing that I will say that has helped me during this time, though, is just knowing that we serve a God that does not change. Yes. Everything else around us might be changing, but we serve a God that does not change. Yeah. So inside of that, and knowing and having that confidence that even though we have to make adjustments, is that he gives us instructions on how to make those adjustments so we can be okay in a changing world. So, and still, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still some stuff though you really have to remember and remind yourself, like you might want to go to a restaurant, you might want to get something to eat, you might, there's certain things, but you still have to kind of like remember, okay, well, I can't do that, or I can't go see this friend. And like, sometimes, when you hear about people that have experienced the COVID-19 and came out of it and then been close to you, it kind of hurts you because like it kind of scares you and hurts you, because you like, wow, I could have been around them like no longer than about a month ago, or a couple of months ago, so you had these cautions, but at the same time, for the most part, because God has been that staple during this season of change, it really has allowed me to see things in a different way, and then also going through those experiences of having to be sheltered in place myself, that it's just basically I kind of got okay with that, the church. But when I'll close after this, but the first time back in church though, I was psyched. That was I was pumped up, because although this is good right here, ain't nothing like seeing the brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? But right here, if we got to do it this way, and so everybody can be safe, or however, let it be. But long as that we remember that still we serve a God that does not change, although things may be changing.
Definitely. I tell you one thing, that definitely kept me sane, because if I had to go through this pandemic alone, I probably would have went crazy. But like I said, I got my partner with me too, so I could definitely attest to that.
Yeah.
Yep. Keep on moving. Anybody else?
Yeah, I like to share. So when we went into the pandemic, I was pregnant. with baby patients. And I was actually excited that we was getting shut down because I was about to have the baby. So I got time to rest. Initially, when I heard about the pandemic, I did kind of have that same as Eric, like panic mode, like, you know, that humanistic part of us, like not going to God about what's happening, just panicking. And I was like, okay, what am I do about my work? Because I influence behind the chair, which is the salon. But God did tell me months before the pandemic even hit to start saving money. And I did not understand why, but now I know he wanted me to save for the pandemic. And saying going into the pandemic, I feel like I struggled a lot with myself. And so it gave me time to really spend time with God as well as interact with my family more, being that me and Bruce have only been married for 3 years. And 3 years and 6 months, and we got married 6 months knowing each other and then got married. So we had a lot of catching up to do versus us doing all this moving around, trying to pay bills, trying to make ends meet. We got to spend that time with one another and really build the foundation and what God was doing in our home. But this is going to assist us to build legacies, build, generational wealth, whatever it is that God has intended for Bruce and I to do. He gave us that time within this year to really connect spiritually, versus, us just doing whatever we want and me thinking that I got to do whatever I want, one up on my husband or Albert, because that's the mindset that I had. You know what I'm saying? I was a single woman. I did everything on my own, single mother. So I did have like more, the mentality of go, 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 go. I had to one up always. And so God really had to work through me in this time. So I'm grateful for the pandemic. I ain't gonna lie. It has redirected us to take it back to what God intended us for us as a whole and individually. We all needed this, regardless of what it looked like or how it fell apart. It had to be that for everything to come together. And I just see this as a temporary thing, us being in the homes like this. I think that we are going to be able to connect, but it's going to be in a different way. Not necessarily taking relationship out of anything, but pivoting, as we've been talking about, redirecting the approach. So
I definitely, but before someone else jump in, I felt that when you said we needed this because, like, if you take a step back, if you look, step outside yourself a little bit, like the world was just, we was doing too much. Let's be real.
yeah.
Like we was doing, like everybody, people was just wilding. And I think, as I look back, God needed to set us down. You know how like you do your child, tell them go sit down for a minute. You need to sit down for a minute, right?
Yeah.
I felt that. I really did. I felt that. Like we all needed to just sit down and chill. I take a time out for a minute. So I
We
appreciate
did.
that. Yeah. All right. Let's keep it going. This is great. Who else?
Hey everybody. Well, I enjoyed COVID. I really enjoyed COVID. I thinking about it now, like March the 13th when it all happened. I think I was already packed up at work, ready to go home. I had my laptop ready. I had my desk cleaned out. I had snacks ready. Like I just had like when Pastor gave us that warning the Sunday prior. Like I ran out and did so much. So when quarantine hit, I was happy because like my life was. I don't think I spend no time at home. I think between appointments and work, and of course, like I have two kids to go on two different sides of town, schools. So that travel every day, that was like an hour and a half commute every day before I had to go to work and then come home. So it was like very exhausting. And just sitting for those months, like cars didn't even move. It just was like a peace. It was a peace in the atmosphere. It was a peace in the home. I would say I enjoyed the fact that I was able to quarantine with my son nurse. Um, I gained so much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. I would say my ear tuned to a lot of wisdom, but my ear was tuned to everything, like everything. I would say I became one of the most. They should have had me on CNN as a reporter because I had CNN on lockdown.
Okay.
That was like my main go-to for prayer because I was like, what I'm gonna pray about? I was on lockdown on CNN and on these press conferences, so I was having notes. Then it was times when I was hospitalized. But even during that time of hospitalization, I wasn't like, oh God, like the first time I said, oh God, you need me in the hospital to pray for COVID before it hit VCU. But then, like after that, I was like, all right, God, what's this about? You don't want me to get those coronavirus pounds because I was having problems with my stomach. So it allowed me to stop eating so much, gain, lose weight, but I built recipes. I cooked outside my norm. I would say I fed my children stuff I never fed them before. I became a teacher. And then Robinette taught my whole house. So that was good. TikTok was brought out the nice talents in me. So I let my character be bold. Um, I would say like doing some videos on Facebook, the confidence that was built. So the first hit of COVID was dynamic. Towards the end, it wasn't as dynamic. But I would say I enjoy my children. I definitely enjoy my children. I enjoy watching them learn. Um, I think for my children, especially Naquan, it was a little difficult for him because he's a sports player. So to have his football life shut down, that was a lot. And me being a football mom, I was constantly, no lie, worried about what's going to happen with my son, his future in football. I would say I think I have a strategy that I need to talk to VSHL, or what is it, Virginia High School League. I have a strategy, and I need to talk to somebody on the chair or committee because my son going to college and other kids going to college where they lost this opportunity this year. That was, I think, the most hardest thing because they just getting to be juniors. So varsity was just a kickoff for them, and they missed this whole season. And I think that was difficult. But I helped her pull up grades. MJ learned how to walk. Uh, we got rid of G-tube. Um, temporary. We got some things to deal with that. We're talking more. I think he learned more stuff outside of COVID coming home than he did going into a children's hospital getting all his services. And I think the love and the unity that we drew in the house, I think that's what pushed it even more. And just the bonding, and we found time to have um, family moments. So I build up my balcony so that my side porch so we can have outside moments. Um, and we had to create so much to just build it, let that toxic out there mind. What I don't like is that they became even more Xbox junkies.
Mm.
So, couch potatoes. One of my sons is a couch potato. The other one, he got into the love life, so I have to follow that. When they come home, I gotta make sure. Well, when he come home and his girlfriend go, I gotta make sure both of them are going into areas that's not COVID, have COVID risk. They're wearing masks. I think she went out of town. She got upset with me because I was like, you cannot come to my house for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
You know. So I had to break up a relationship for a couple of times. um, I had family that I couldn't be around, but I also had a couple of scares where I was around a couple of people, and then they was like, "Oh, I was exposed to COVID," and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Um,
I think
I
Look,
think
I
Chris.
think we when we think about what COVID has done, we have to know, according to Romans 8:28, that all things work together for our good. And so when you look at that scripture, it does not think that all things work together and then they're good. It means that everything is working together. So no single experience stands alone. Every one of them works together.
Mhm.
And the experience that you're having right now is working, is designed to work with the experience that you're going to have next. And the experience that you have before is working with it. So God uses everything. He wastes nothing. And that's why COVID was such a blessing. Um, Everything is a blessing. It's blessings in disguise, blessings that we don't recognize until later on, but it's a blessing. Um, what I'm so glad that you all are here tonight and having this conversation. The if y'all will allow me, um, I want to throw a monkey wrench in here and redirect your energy. What's happening now is we are, as believers, sharing with each other, and we're still in a cave. This this next phase of ministry is not inside the boat, it's outside the boat.
Yes.
It's on the other side. Now, you all that have been with us in ministry for years, y'all know that anything can happen at any time. What I'm going to challenge all of you to do is take this exact conversation to Clubhouse. Take this net and throw it on the other side and go get some people that are not believers right now, or people that are stuck in traditional Christianity, or people who have been depressed, need to understand life in a different way, or people who need to know your testimony and don't already know you, and somebody who has a child that's special needs, or somebody who has a child that's gone to military, or somebody who got saved while they was high, or somebody who used to be in jail. It's easy to talk to other believers around other believers, but what about the other people who need to just know that we're people just like you? We just do it God's way. We make mistakes just like you. We just do things God's way. We have challenges in our life just like you have challenges. We just believe it in God's way. If we were in church physically, what I would ask y'all to do is just leave church and go to a restaurant and start talking. But because we're in this virtual platform, what do y'all think about just take it to Clubhouse and see who else wants to be part of this conversation? If we were in a physical church, some folks would get nervous and they would get scared because they scared of people. But we're not scared. We're going to go there together.
That's right. I'm with it. I just don't have Clubhouse, but yeah.
Well, somebody got an invite. Y'all feel like going to get some souls?
Yes.
Let's do it.
I keep hearing about this.
Let's go.
Clubhouse? I feel old now.
I got 3 invites that I can give out.
I know I got some invites too as well.
Let's
I
do
think
it.
I got some invites.
What's a
Y'all feel
Clubhouse?
like going to get some souls?
My
Let's
wife
go
sent
get
me
these
an
souls.
invite, but I don't know how to get on there through an Android.
Who
Is it-
knows?
Oh, who got an Android? Who got an Android?
Who
I
doesn't
got
know
an
about
Android.
what Clubhouse
Don't talk
is?
about me.
Does everybody know what Clubhouse is?
Eric
No.
doesn't.
Go ahead, Pat.
Got no name. But Clubhouse is a social media app. It's all live conversation. Nothing is recorded, and it's just discussion groups. Imagine a mansion that has a whole bunch of rooms. This mansion is like Clubhouse, and it has an endless amount of rooms. So you go in the Clubhouse and you create a room, and then you just start talking.
Yeah.
And there, people are in the audience, or people can be brought onto stage. If you come on stage, you can talk. They give you a microphone. If you're not on stage, then you can't talk. You can just listen. And what ends up happening is a whole bunch of people that are walking by or just scrolling, they're like, oh, I think that's an interesting conversation. And they come on in.
Yeah, and it also removes 6 degrees of separation between you and anybody you wouldn't normally be able to talk to. For instance, I was in a room talking with Mace and some other individuals, and it was about some similar to this conversation, and it just gave me ability to teach about the kingdom in a way that was very relevant. People was like, I never heard of it like that way, and we sitting on these jewels. All of us as individuals, we hear this information all the time. We talk about it among each other, but when you go on the platforms where people, high-level executives, producers, people that have influence, but they don't have this concept of the kingdom, we're able to give that information in a very relevant way, and really bring forth light. And Apostle have been doing the same thing, because we've been over there kind of really just navigating it, and it's just been phenomenal because you get to meet people and talk to people you'll never talk to before, and remove separation between you and someone you could never normally talk to, but introduce them to a concept about the kingdom in a way, just kind of like what you're doing right here. People need this conversation, and people from all over, new blood, people that can contribute to the world in a very dynamic way, that are doing it. But with that, coupled with this information that we learn, it'll just change the whole game. So I do have 3 invites. So if you need one,
now
some
people might not have been ready. So if y'all need to finish this and do it another time, and but I'm telling you, it's one thing to stay circular.
Yeah, definitely. I need one instruction though. How do you get on with the Android? I will use my invite, and I will say,
snap. Yeah, it's only
They don't have Yeah,
It's
it's
yeah,
only for the
tell me how to
iPhone.
do it too, because I got an Android and
the,
I'll be on there all day long.
They
this
already
is
listening for
Team
they already
iPhone.
listening for Android.
You keep on Android dudes. That's that.
Well, there's
That's the
a
clubhouse.
and somehow got on using Android. There's an Android hack to get in there. All right.
All right. Thanks, Apostle. Appreciate you. You too, Bruce.
I love y'all.
Love y'all too, man. But definitely, I'm all for it though, man. I'm all for it, and just as they were saying, like people do for real. Because on the flip side of our conversation, like we talking about, our experiences and how, COVID-19 has affected us. But one thing we do, like I said, we all have a foundation and a staple, which is Christ, our Lord. And it's some people though that have absorbed disappointments, discouragements, losses. This haven't been a good time or a good year for some people last year. And truthfully, like I think that's the part that we need to speak about too. Like, because I think we all have, probably experienced something along the line, but we can, like Apostle just said, we take that Romans 8:28 and understand that all things end up working out for his good, because we take and we based our faith upon a promise that God didn't just give the captives during Jeremiah's time, but he gave through all people, through all generations, that I know the thoughts I think towards you, say of the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. But how can people see the light at the end of the tunnel when all they see is darkness in the midst of their circumstances?
Absolutely. And that's what we represent for sure. Yeah.
And even what I'm grateful for is during the COVID, we still got to stay connected as a family. And we're doing this together. So us going on Clubhouse will be phenomenal because we're coming with the power, and it's just redirecting people back to the love of God. Because I realize it's like talking to many women, they lost their sight of God. Or they may not even had an inclination on who he was. They say, I love God, but their actions show differently. So it's just redirecting them back to God, not necessarily taking the responsibility to hold people, but sending them back to God, like showing them how to have genuine relationship with God and versus religion.
Yeah, and that's a big thing because I'm sorry, Bruce, you was about to say something. I ain't want to cut nobody off.
No, it's just crazy. I just got off the phone with one of my mentees, a 17-year-old. I'm really focused on like a lot of the younger generation, and we just really dissecting the word. And one of the things it's very relative to what we're talking about in Galatians chapter 4. Let's talk about how Jesus came in the fullness of time, and that he came up under the law that he may change it. And I was really getting some real serious revelation from it, like where the time that we are born in and what we are born up under may not be what God had originally planned. But I was saying, like, the power of integrating where people are and then pulling them into something new breaks the law of sin or breaks the law of a mentality or mindset that has kept them restricted. So the idea of Clubhouse, or the idea of what you were saying, Curtis, of really finding where people are on the other side. Like I said to him, I was like, well, you might have the same haircut, you might even have the same clothes, but y'all are completely different individuals as far as in how you stand in Christ and being relevant in a real way, because he was really like on fire. It's just zeal, but he just didn't have strategy on integrating where people are, but pulling and not losing integrity of the word, but pulling people back by with the ministry of reconciliation, reconciling people back to Christ, that be pointed back to the Father, and that takes strategy and wisdom. And so wherever we are in the world, where we are in just this technological age, in the midst of COVID and all the things that are happening right now, it's really interesting how God is, like Apostle said, we've been talking about this for a minute, ministry on the other side of casting the net on the other side to where fish can't fall through the cracks, but God has given us these nets and these strategies that will pull fish up out of the water into the boat. You know what I mean? Because while they were toiling all night, but nothing came through. Is that because the fish were coming through the cracks? But God has given these nets and these strategies to pull fish and reconcile them back to God. And so I'm really excited about just what y'all were talking about and just really hearing it, because I just was talking about that with someone else. So that means that other people are having this narrative go off in their heart and say, I'm just looking for this. They are looking for this. They're looking for y'all. They are looking for this way of living.
And all we have to do is just bring the language what God already laid on their heart.
Amen.
I'm excited.
Elder Jamila had preached Sunday, right? And she one of the things that she said and pointed out too, she said, "Who will be next?" And
Yeah.
the reality of it is just like how Naomi just said, and actually you also echoed it as well, Bruce, is that you know that traditionally, you know, the church has made it rules and regulations. You know what I'm saying? Relationship had went out the door. Nobody really was having that true encounter with the true and living God. And this is a thing that God, he will put, like for instance, with the woman at the well, he sent them into the village and he took a pause and did something totally, he went totally against what Levitical law said. He changed the rules because it was a moment in time that he specifically set aside to meet with the woman at the well. And that's what I believe God had done in this season, that he has put the pause that right now their relationship will be reinstated as opposed to religion, that people will understand that the basis of all this is the love of God. When we talk about for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, well, I used to get this book called this magazine called Voice of the Martyrs, right? It was created by Richard Wurmbrand, who was locked up in a Romanian prison for 14 years. So he didn't have anything, but anyway, make a long story short, his ministry goes out and he helps the persecuted church throughout the whole world. So it was one woman that had found one page of the Bible, and I think it was China. I think it was either China or either Indonesia, one or the other, right? I think it was China though. And the only page she found was John 3:16. So for 10 years straight, she had went from preaching from that one verse for 10 years straight to the point where her church, when they found her church was at that point in time, I think it was at least about 3,000 people or more from just preaching that one particular verse, right? Just the power of God's love, you know. And when we think about that, man, when we talk about that love, that agape, we generalize it and say, okay, it's unconditional love. But the real Greek definition of agape is this: it says it recognizes the value in the object, which is us, and it prizes us. It has nothing to do with what I do or what I don't do, but who I am. And that's all God wants us to do, is be able to share it with somebody else. God sees that value in you. Not about where you at, where you been, or where you going. God want to say, listen, I want to love you all where you at, you know? And I know that's where he found me, man. He found me, snatched me, and be like, look, come on. Let me
bro.
you, Joe.
You give me crunk, Curtis. Look,
This is Clubhouse worthy for sure.
Look, no, Curtis, what you said, bro, about the women at the well, when you like you said, when you understand that cultural context behind what's happening, Jesus going into that well could have started a war, because the hostility between the Palestinians and the Jews, and for him to go and to talk to a woman, that caused the whole uproar. And they're like, Jesus, why are you integrating? Like, you know, we don't supposed to go down there. So you say breaking cultural norms and even laws, and even going to a point where I will sacrifice my life to the degree to where I'm willing to change this this social norm. And that's what we're supposed to do, bro. Go in places where you know good and well, bro. You got me so crunk. Got me know good and well that you can't go into that location because everybody has said, you know, the law, or you know, the social norm is this, or the invisible law that we have all created as a society says you can't do that. And for you to go in anyway, say, I love these people, and to crack the code on people's hearts by going into a location and a place, it changes everything. So what you saying, bro, because I was studying that, and the repercussions that could have really happened, they could have just started a whole nother war, because they already were were at heads with each other. So, man, what you said, man, just on point. You got me amped, because that's the time that we're in right now. We got to go into these places. We got to go into these places with that love, Curtis. You got me so crunk, bro, because that's it. We got to go into these places with that level of love that would change it all, and the laws that ride it.
Jamila said we're saviors.
Yeah, she said,
we are.
We are
saviors, ambassadors, all
we the new Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, so I always call myself, when I was in the penitentiary, I ain't like to be on the tail with a lot of believers. And the reason why, because my thing was that I call myself a field dude, right? Now, I might not throw Jesus out there and swing your face right off the back, but if anybody always had an alternative motive, it was always me. I'm gonna cut into somebody, but it's only because I'm gonna tell you about Jesus sooner or later. I say God used me in a man's life who was on dope, man. Only thing I did with him was play Scrabble for 6 months straight. 6 months straight. Just play Scrabble with him 6 months straight. So sometimes you got the way you so listen, like we was talking about, Pastor talked about, and we all talked about throwing the net on the other side. It was a different strategy, another instructions, a different way of doing things. It's more than one way to catch a fish, man. It's more than so I'm with the
And
clubhouse.
more than one way to gut them.
Yeah, I'm with it. I'm with it. Like, how we gonna go? How we gonna go?
So Bruce, are you gonna open the room up for us? Are we gonna do that tonight? How we doing this?
I don't know. I mean, everybody. Well,
look, y'all find me the Android joint, and I go with y'all.
Yeah, everybody needs the invite. If you need an invite, just text me. I got 3.
I got
Naomi has a couple.
I need an invite.
Rashida, do you need an invite?
I got you, Rashida.
I do. Thank you.
Somebody invite me too.
Who's
You
that?
heard Jessica.
Jessica, I got you, Jessica.
Big E, did you got an iPhone?
Problem as Curtis. I'm
I
Android
got a
still. I'm about to
Clubhouse
upgrade in a
too.
couple weeks. No.
Don't
Hello.
the Android a hole now. That's all about the upgrade.
Dr. Masika on there already.
I still have an S4. My other phone didn't crack.
No.
Hey,
Look,
that
I ain't
note
gonna bother
is-
y'all.
that note is
I wasn't
hot,
invited on here. I just jumped in.
I miss my S Pen.
No, but honestly, guys, because I really do miss evangelizing. Like, evangelism is not the same. You can't just go out and pass tracts out or go out and say, we're just going to pray for this community. Like,
Bro, the COVID has changed all of that.
yeah, just changed everything. And so I miss evangelizing. So it's evangelizing.
Well. All right. So with all due, let's bring a consensus to what was asked of what we're asking. Are we going on Clubhouse now?
Yes.
Oh, y'all going on
What
Clubhouse
is the name
now?
of the room that will be on Clubhouse?
Right. Are we doing
If we're going if we're going now, I
do.
suggest a non-churchy title. So
Absolutely.
whether we're doing it today or another day, it needs to be something that'll gather somebody's interest. We can't put something that's
The
churchy
title
because
for
people don't
today was
understand it.
Cultivating Healthy Relationships.
That's
what
it.
this was.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay. So is that what we're doing?
Is it tonight?
Like
Are we
right
going
now?
right now? Like, are we going right now?
Come on, Robin. Come on, sis. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
So for those of you who are watching on Facebook, we can still keep the Zoom space open for those of us who have multiple devices. We invite you then to join us on Clubhouse. Elder Bruce, if you wouldn't mind opening up the Clubhouse room, and we will join you. Cultivating Healthy Relationships. Please jump on Clubhouse. There we'll continue this open conversation. God bless you.
We got to download a Clubhouse app or something.
Rashida, I'm about to send you.
Yeah, you do have to download the app, Eric. Deacon E. So if you did you get an invitation?
I'll send them.
Not
Let
yet.
me see. Somebody send me an invitation.
Can I have an invitation too, please?
Who am I? Okay, let's see. I think you got. Do they have to be in your phone, babe? Bruce. Oh, he left.
I can send one to Eric, and I can. Who else said it? Christine.
Yes.
Christine and Jessica.
Jessica.